All right, welcome back. The path to peace is not an easy one. Americans all over are feeling the strain of this war every time that they go to the gas pump. But if a small time of this financial strife leads to lifetime worth of peace and not having to worry about the Iranian regime, would it be worth it? Let's bring back my special guest here, former director of social media for President Trump, Mike Hahn. Also with us is financial advisor and author of Wealth Unbroken, Rebecca Walzer, and NewsMax opinion columnist, Rob Top. Great to have you all here.
Good to be
Let's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. He went on Meet the Press this morning. This is what he had to say about how much longer it might be here for Americans that are suffering, that is hurting their pocketbook when it comes to gas prices. Watch.
I don't know whether it's going to be 30 days. I don't know whether it's going to be 50 days. I don't know whether it's going to be 100 days. But to have 50 years, peace in the Middle East and know that the Iranian regime is defanged.
So that's that point, going back to we got to get rid of the Iranian regime. But Americans, they are feeling it. And this wasn't something that President Trump had talked about or campaigned on, that he was going to go after Iran. But we're here and they're in this moment. What do you think of what the Treasury Secretary said?
If you remember early on in the Biden term, you had Janet Yellen coming out to say that inflation was temporary, and we held her to that for the longest time. And Scott Bessent is not a dumb man. He knows he can't give a timeline for it. And at the end of the day, war is war. I mean, look, are the gas pumps pretty? No, I filled up this morning on the way here. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is all based on market. We have enough oil here. We have enough gas here right now. And Joe Biden emptied the strategic reserve, and no one had a problem with that. Trump hasn't even touched that yet. So this is all very much the markets and their feelings right now. There is not a problem to speak of, you know, in America in terms of oil.
Right. And we're always talking about gas prices. They fluctuate from time to time. But you look at this situation, and clearly some Americans, want something to change here with this. President Trump, he will make it happen, I'm sure. He'll try to, he's got options, he said, to help with the oil and gas. You've got Venezuela now. That's an option for the U.S. He's talking about Cuba. But also now, if they take Cargill, we potentially could have more oil than we know what to do with. Rebecca.
Scott Bessent has my vote for the best communicator for Trump's policy on almost every aspect. It's obviously clear that he's obviously talking economics, but good for him to not overpromise, and bad for us to be such crybabies in this country that we think we can go to war with, I would call, the head of the snake of the Middle East and think, oh, in 3 weeks, time. And we're talking about February 28th is when this all blew up. So let's calm down. It's not even the end of March yet. And let's understand, nobody had a problem. Well, people had a problem, but no one was screaming at the top of their lungs, oh my gosh, gas is so expensive, because we were pumping all this stimulus when we were shut down and not working. And that was fine. That was okay. We could call it transitory for 2 years and people accepted it. But we cannot even be at war for a month, and this is what the American... Let's understand that things cost money, to Scott's point, to give us the long-term security.
I got to get to this. Breaking news right now. Cuba's deputy foreign minister says it's preparing for possible U.S. military aggression. The comments were made on NBC's Meet the Press this morning. The deputy foreign minister emphasized Cuba's historical readiness to mobilize as a nation, but insisted that the country poses no threat to the U.S. President Trump said earlier this week that he could take Cuba. He's talked about that a few times. This comes as Cuba faces severe energy shortages right now, blackouts, and an economic crisis. I'll bring it back here to the panel now. Rob, hearing that report that we just got from the potentially that Cuba's not going to back down.
Well, I don't think Trump means that he's going to take Cuba by rolling in with a flotilla. He wants to help them. Yeah. They don't want to admit that the average salary there is about $15 a month, and people are driving Ford Edsels, not because they're collector's items, but because cars from the 1950s are all they have. It's a country that's in economic collapse. Trump can be hyperbolic. His messaging can be not as good as it should be, but we're not rolling in there to destroy and take over this country.
Rebecca, what's your take?
I mean, again, I think this president and this administration has such a position that we've not seen before. He's now dealing with Iran, Cuba, obviously closest neighbor to our south outside of Mexico, and obviously a communist regime and in its own right. So, I think that take the opportunities that present themselves and deal with these issues that we've had for a long, long time.
So Cuba military is preparing for U.S. aggression. Do you think that they've been tipped, that there's something going on behind the scenes? You have Secretary Marco Rubio. He's been trying to negotiate with Cuba. So is there something that's coming?
I think we all kind of saw this coming when we, took over Venezuela. They were a huge provider of fuel to Cuba, hence why we're seeing a lot of the blackouts right now. So the Cubans would have been dumb to not be preparing for this over the last couple of months. But for them to say that they're not a threat to the U.S. when they're inviting our enemies like China and Russia, even Iran, into their territory 90 miles off of the coast of Florida.
Exactly.
Sorry, this is our hemisphere, and we're going to do something about it.
Just look it up here. Yes, okay. We have to leave it there. Got to get to break, but we'll have more on that. Breaking news here on Sunday Report. Don't go away. Also this, political shakeup. Republicans